Hi guys, this is Paul from Breaking Chains. Hey, today I'd like to talk to you about recovery. I'd like to tell you a little bit of story. A little story first about the chicken and about the pig. So there's this homeless man, and he's sitting on the corner and he's hungry, and the chicken says to the pig, "Hey, let's go feed that homeless guy some breakfast." And the pig replies to the chicken, "For you, it's just a decision. For me, it's a lifelong commitment." So what that means is the homeless man is a symbol of recovery, for the man eating recovery. The chicken is a symbol of a decision that needs to be made. Choose recovery. You just have to make the decision to lay the egg, just like we have to make a decision to choose recovery. Now the pig, of course, has to give all of himself as a lifelong commitment because he's the bacon. And so what we have to do in recovery is we have to give all of ourselves to our recovery, which of course is homeless man. So that's kind of the moral of that story: is make a decision, give a lifelong commitment, and you can maintain long-term recovery. A lot of people, whether they have 3 months, 6 months, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years, I've even seen guys with 20 years relapse and go back to using. And the reason this happens is because a lot of guys will stop doing what they started doing in the first place because they get comfortable in their recovery. And also, what people do in early stages of recovery is they don't work hard enough. I mean, if you're an addict like I was, I had to work 24 hours a day, 7 days a week in my addiction. Just trying to stay high was a 24-hour day job. And a lot of people come into recovery thinking that they can put less into their recovery than they did in their addiction, and it's just not going to work. It's not enough to maintain long-term recovery. So what we have to do when we come into recovery is we have to work just as hard in our recovery as we did in our addiction, whether that is whatever recovery style you choose, whether that's NA or AA or Celebrate Recovery or 12-step meetings, getting a sponsor, working the steps, um, going to church, going to Bible studies, getting involved with ministries at the church, um, volunteering at the church, volunteering at the 12-step meetings. Um, Whatever your style of recovery is, you need to put a lot of work into that. If you just put a little, you're going to get a little out of it. Put a lot into it, you're going to get a lot out of it, and you're going to be able to maintain long-term recovery. A lot of the people that relapse that have multiple years, they get comfortable in their recovery, and they stop working it because uh, they say, "I got this thing." And the truth is, we never get it. We always should be working in our recovery. Recovery is long-term, not just short-term. And once you think you've got it, you've already lost it. You've already lost your recovery once you think you got it. It's the same thing with the people who choose church and choose God. Once you think you got this God thing, you've already lost it. So we don't ever want to think we got it. We always want to keep working hard at it because we want to continue to grow. And once we stop working it, we stop growing. And so what happens? Well, the brain reverts back to what it knows. And what it knows is addiction. We've taught our brain addiction. And so we have to unteach it um, with more healthy things. I don't mean unteach it to where it forgets, because it'll never forget, but we want to teach it new things, and that's recovery. We got to constantly be doing that. Um, People with diseases take medication. As long as they take that medication, their disease will be in remission. It's the same with us in recovery. We have to take our medication. As long as we're which is change. As long as we're consistently changing, consistently working on our recovery, then our addiction will be in remission. And and you know what they say: once an addict, always an addict. So we have, and once you have a disease, you're always going to have that disease. But we can keep it in remission. How we do that is we stay in recovery. Um, a pond of water is perfect and is clear, and I'm talking about the people who think, "Man, I got this." Uh, so they think they're good in their recovery, and it looks like a clear pond, and that clear pond, you can see through the bottom. It's beautiful. It's gorgeous. The level of it is just right. It's gorgeous. But what happens is it sits for a while, which means when we stop growing, and that pond sits for a while, it's going to get all stagnant, get the green stuff, get the West Nile virus, get mosquitoes, get weird looking bugs blowing all throughout it. And that's what our recovery looks like when we stop working. It might look good to you, but it'll get stagnant. Uh, and then it'll revert back to what it knows, which is addiction. So we always want to have something coming into our pond. Level changes, clarity changes. Uh, it's constantly got something coming into it and something going out of it. Something good coming in and good going out. Recovery is a lifelong process. Uh, if we never stepped into recovery, we would be in addiction for the rest of our lives. We'd have to work at that addiction for the rest of our lives. So we choose recovery, then we have to constantly be in recovery for the rest of our lives. So I hope that explained a lot to you about recovery, and I hope it helps you. If you have any more questions for me, you can reach me on Facebook at Breaking Chains Chronicles of a Meth Addict. It's not just for meth addicts, it's for all people, for all addictions, and it's also for the loved ones. There's a lot of loved ones of the addict on that page. You get a lot of info from my page there too as well. You can also pick up my books on AmazonBooks.com. One book is called Breaking Chains, Hope for Addicts and Their Families, and the other one is Chronicles of a Meth Addict. My third one, which should be coming out next month, is called Meth Pandemic, which is going to be a really good book. My first book, Breaking Chains, Hope for Addicts and Their Families, actually sold all over the world, and it's helped addicts understand addiction, help loved ones understand addiction, and help those in recovery to maintain long-term recovery. And I get really in-depth in that book for the loved ones and the addict and those in recovery. So I hope you pick up that book on AmazonBooks.com. I hope to hear from you guys on Breaking Chains Chronicles of a Meth Addict on Facebook. Until then, always pray for the addict who still suffers. Take care, and God bless.